This is the Demystifying Mental Toughness podcast, hosted by David Charlton, and you're listening to this podcast to help you build your own mental toughness, or so that you can support other people or your clients better. Either way, you will learn more about developing this plastic personality trait that all but guarantees that you will perform better and lead a more prosperous life. Hi, I'm David Charlton, and this is the Demystifying Mental Toughness podcast. And today I'm bringing you a short bite from episode 42 with Mark Bennett MBE. I've got to say, that particular episode is one of our most popular and most downloaded episodes on the whole podcast. And I'm hoping Mark's short take on the difference between leisure and performance athletes and how coaches can actually help athletes in this respect to improve their commitment levels is a help for you today. Enjoy.
For me, a leisure and a performance athlete has nothing to do with technical ability or physicality or skill. It has to do with the behaviours and the attitude to the everyday things. So if we looked at a simple version, and we could go into this much deeper, the simple version is a performance athlete is somebody that will do what they need to do to be the best they can be, supervised or unsupervised, 24/7. So that will be, they will understand, and you could be a novice and you could have a performance attitude of saying, what do I need to do, not what I want to do? And they'll understand it and they'll seek to understand it and they'll apply it to the best of their ability, whether it's cold, whether it's wet, whether it's dark, whether they don't like doing it, whether they're not good at it yet. And that could be, if you look at the world-class performance attitude of behavior, we're looking at, okay, how much sleep do I need? I'm going to make sure my food is ready the next day. What are my macros and micros I need for the next day? I'm going to plan that first. I'm going to pack my bag first. How much sleep do I need? So I'm going to make sure that an hour before at least I get away from my phone to allow me to relax, and then I can get to bed so I know I can sleep. When my alarm goes off, I won't continue to press snooze. I'll get up, I'll do my mindfulness. I know what success is for me for the day. I'll have my hydration for drink. I'll do my mobility. I'll have my good breakfast. When I go into train, even if it's in the gym or conditioning or prehab and rehab, before I start, I'll know what success is, and I commit 100% to every process. And I'll live my day through those actions of making informed choices and committing to the intent and review the choice and the execution 24/7. A leisure athlete will be somebody go, I'll do the things I like doing. The stuff I need to do, I'm not going to really commit to unless someone is supervising me and telling me to. So a golfer, for example, may be the one that goes, well, I like getting on the range and smashing the big shots. I understand my short game is my weakness, but, unless the coach tells me, I'm really not going to do that. Oh, it's raining. I'm not going to get on the course. I'm just going to go in the warm driving range again because I like hitting the shots. So that's kind of the difference, in a short version. And again, everything outside that day to day, they won't really connect to the choices they need to be the best they can be. They'll kind of go, well, I can make excuses and quantify why I'm not making the choices I need to, and I'll just do the stuff I like doing. So that's the simple version, David.
So in effect, what we're saying here is the attention to detail of the high performance athlete and the preparation that they go into is extraordinarily big.
Yeah, and what's really important as a coach, my mantra within the whole of my business is performance is a behaviour, not an outcome. So what I've got to understand as a coach, teacher, manager is actually, am I really looking at the everyday behaviours of the athlete, or am I get caught up in their technical ability in the moment of what I see? Because we need to understand what are their everyday behaviours to understand where their mindset is and what their commitment is to their goal, not our goal. So when we can start to identify that, we can start to understand where we need to be the influencer or raise their awareness to, the alignment to where they want to get to, and their present behaviours, are they aligned to their present goal? Now, some people, as you know, you've experienced some, know, David, is they say they want to be the best golfer, whatever it may be. They want to win the cups, they want to get onto the tours, etc. But actually the behaviors aren't aligned to the goal. So, but no one's really had the conversation with them in deep to get them to understand what are the very behaviors they need to, what are the very behaviors they're doing now, where are the differences? Are you willing to make the changes, and do you need to support in that? Do you know what they look like? And if not, no problem, but let's just change your goal and put the choice back at them.
Yeah, that must be one of the difficulties when you're working in team sports is for the coach to actually have all these really detailed conversations with their athletes when you've got a squad of 25, 30 people.
Yeah, and what you'll always have is, even at pro level, you'll have people with a range of behaviours, and I've so many coaches I've met over the years saying, oh, this guy's got so much potential, or this, female has got so much potential, but they just don't commit. And one of the challenges is when you're, let's use the word talented, and we haven't got time to get into what that means, but if we were to just say they are better than the people around them, so their first choice pick, but their behaviours are not the same level as commitment as the people around them. So for them, actually, they're the hardest people for them internally to change, because they're thinking, well, I'm still getting picked, so why do I need to work harder? I'm still better than the people around me. The problem with them is they're measuring their performance in a comparison with the athletes around them, which actually is a false paradigm of measurement. So what we need to do, even if it's a team, is actually, one, have a conversation to get them to understand it, but also then we need to start scanning each athlete. And it doesn't take long, over weeks, months, to get to know them as a person and get to know, their commitment to the behaviours. And there's a lot of adherence strategies that we can use with that. But it's you spending time to get to know the person, then spending time to get to know where are their behaviours, and also then what do they really want? Because actually it may be, look, I just like playing in this team, I don't want to progress. So actually, if their behaviours are aligned to that, then it will be hard to change them unless we start to change. Actually, I want to do more. I'm more engaged now. I'm enjoying it more. You're making it more challenging for me mentally. I want to change. But if they go, no, I definitely want to be somewhere else, I want to progress, but the behaviours aren't aligned to that, it's definitely worth having the honest conversation. How you have the conversation is part of the coaching craft, because by just telling them isn't going to facilitate change. You might build barriers, but you've got to raise their awareness to the connection with, actually, it's still their choice, but are their present behaviours aligned to their desired outcome? And that's the conversation that's critical.
And thinking about this, it's going to be very important for these athletes who are going to go on and succeed and attain higher levels to be able to reflect and to learn from mistakes, learn to adapt their daily behaviours.
Yeah, it's one of the challenges and frustrations I have within a lot of sports that I see from the outside and in business, and even in schools, is we expect people to make effective decisions under different variety of pressure, make great choices, being able to commit to them, and then evaluate them without getting caught up in the outcome. But we don't teach it to them. So we kind of, if you said to anybody, you said to a golfer, a basketball player, a pole vaulter, anybody says, right, I want you to be better within your skill, but we're not going to practice that. I just expect you to do that straight away. Everyone would laugh at you. So no, we need to spend time. We need to be patient. We need to progress this. Well, if you want people to think in a certain way, effectively make great choices based on what they see, scan, being present, make good choices, commit to them with intent, without fear, review the choice, the execution separately. You need to train them and develop an environment where actually we practice that above anything else until you can start being more effective at that, because that's going to be key for their success now and in the future, even with kids. So for me, I developed an action review process that I recommend to every coach. Said, look, overtly share this with your players. Let them know the value of it. Make sure they make the connection. And that's your framework. So just say, I want you to think like this all the way through. I'll never get frustrated if you make a poor choice, but we won't review a choice if you don't commit to it. But if you do, we've got a framework. We can review the choice and the execution in a dialogue. So instead of having to ask players lots of questions, which sometimes you flog on a dead horse because they're just waiting for you to ask a question, we teach them the action review process. So they know, look, all I'm after is a review. You know what the review is now. So now we're listening. We've given them an answering framework as opposed to we having a question framework. We can listen. If there's a bit of grey, we can delve in, but it's allowing them to think in an effective way and not wait for the rubbernecking, as I call it, looking to coach. Is that okay? Learn answers. What does coach want me to say now, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, developing action review process is not just important for sport, but just in life skills, making great decisions and reviewing them.
Mark always provides fantastic value whenever you talk to him. He's so insightful, he's got so much knowledge and experience across a range of sports. And I'm wondering what message you took from today. Feel free to email me, to DM me and to let me know. That would be great. I'm always interested to know what the listeners actually think about some of these bites and some of these podcast episodes. What's on your mind? What are your learnings? One of the things that I took from today was yet again about this thing about effective communication between coach and athlete. In thinking about mental toughness, there's a few measures in mental toughness which have an impact with regards to that. You know, you have emotional control. Is the athlete or is the coach very good with a poker face and isn't great in expressing their thoughts and emotions in that way? Then you've got confidence. Perhaps coach maybe might be overconfident or very, very confident, whereas the athlete isn't. And then it means that the athlete isn't that comfortable to talk to the coach. There's that sort of fear, hierarchical thing going on. And then you've got interpersonal confidence as well, where maybe athletes just aren't great socially in terms of talking about themselves and being comfortable in that sort of social situation, especially if other people are actually around too. So yeah, a little bit of food for thought, some musings from myself. I'd love it. That's right, I'd love it, in Kevin Keegan's words, if you could rate this podcast episode or podcast in general favourably. The more 5-star reviews, the more positive comments that we get, the more people we influence, the more people who actually listen to the podcast, and we make a positive difference to people's lives, which is what I'm all about. Have a great week. If you enjoyed this episode of the Demystifying Mental Toughness podcast with David Charlton, do check out my website, sport-excellence.co.uk, and my online sport psychology resources. The Sport Excellence website has essential resources for anyone looking to build their own mental toughness or the mental toughness of their athletes or teams, or if you want to achieve peak performance more often or optimal functioning. The Sport Excellence website has everything you need to keep moving forward and thrive. So go on, head over to sport-excellence.co.uk to find out more.